Hey everyone, this is Rod Santomassimo with the Massimo Show. And this time around, we're going to forego our amazing guests. And looking back on this year, we've had some amazing guests. Right now, what I'd like to do, well, is focus on you. And more importantly, let's focus on the end of the year and let's look forward, where we're moving to. And every year we provide an outline, a roadmap to allow you to craft a plan that's right for you. So this year we've updated our plan, and our 7-step plan we call the 7 days to your best year yet plan. And so let me allow that to outline these 7 steps for you, let you start thinking a bit about what you should be thinking about and how you can put yourself, with our help of course, in position to make 2021 your best year yet. So, I'm excited. I'm ready. Let's go. Hi, this is Rod Santomassimo, and welcome to the Massimo Show. The objective of the Massimo Show is to share how you can maximize your personal, professional margin. That's right. Let's make more money in less time. Let's turn chaos into clarity, confusion into confidence, and income into real wealth. Along with sharing my insight on how I grew a multi-million-dollar professional business, we're going to bring you the expert advice from a variety of authors, consultants, and thought leaders who will provide the tools you need to maximize your own personal and professional margin. Welcome to the Massimo Show. Okay, there are 7 steps to making next year your best year yet. And step 1 is the transactional review. That's right. We want you to go and look at every transaction you completed, or in this case, with this turbulent year, everyone you worked on and the results of those transactions. For example, when you look at each transaction, you may be providing or selling different services and or products. So look at each transaction and categorize those in regards to what exactly you were offering to the market. Now, where was the opportunity generated? What was the source of that opportunity? What was the magnitude of that opportunity? What was the client of those opportunities? What was the value of that opportunity and the fee associated with those opportunities, right? And of course, did you earn a fee? Did it close? Yes? No? And most importantly, and here's the key, because this definitely changed during the year, what was your client's motivation of that opportunity? What made them want to transact? And more specifically, what made them want to transact with your assistance? See, when you determine all these variables, you look back and review your transactions in this first day, you're going to see some themes. You're going to see some opportunities. And yes, no doubt, you're going to see some challenges. So it's really important that you take the time to review on your transactions so you can set a framework and maybe, once looking at those motivations, a new game plan, maybe messaging to attack the market going forward. The second step is, still a review. We call this the activity review. Yes, the transactions which you worked on were lag measures. It means you received and secured those transactions. But there were some lead measures, some efforts that generated those opportunities. So what were those efforts? First of all, there's some prospecting. I want you to review your prospecting efforts. That may be number of calls, number of completed calls, number of meetings, heck, number of Zoom meetings, right? Everything to do with your prospecting. Prospecting is asking for business. That's what prospecting is. So go back and look at your prospecting efforts. And I'll tell you right now, if you did not track, did not keep score, keep count of those efforts on a weekly, monthly basis, you're doing yourself a disservice. You simply are. We know at the Massimo Group, those clients that consistently track their numbers, they earn exponentially more. So yeah, time to track your numbers. Secondly, what were your personal marketing efforts? No doubt this year, you needed to market probably more than ever before in your career. People needed help. They were looking for resources. Were you a resource or were you viewed as a commodity? It's amazing what marketing can do. Content, yes, both on digital, sending out personal. Sorry, let's make that physical. Personal would be, well, we were a little restricted from the personal interaction for several months this year, but still is the ability to have personal interaction in January and February. And as the markets opened up, depending on where you are, some personal interaction in the latter quarter of 2020. But take a hard look again at your personal marketing efforts. And did you track those efforts? Did you? Did you utilize all the new tools? Did you utilize video? Did you really get involved with LinkedIn? Lots going on LinkedIn right now. Everyone's now on LinkedIn because they have time. They just don't have an account. They're actually doing deals. And also, when it comes to review your time utilization. That's right. How did you spend your time? Your time is one of your most important assets that you have to offer, well, to yourself, your business, and yes, to your prospects and your clients. So how did you use your time, right? Did you work in the business all the time, meaning transaction? Did you allocate some time to work on the business, right? Strategy. Think about it. Think of the vision, right? Plans. Heck, did you allocate time for your most important loved ones? Did you allocate time for yourself? Did you work out? Did you keep in shape or get in shape? Think about your time. Again, this is the review phase. These are the first two steps, and they're so crucial because we can't go forward unless we look back and see where we were, what we accomplished, what we learned. It's all about learning right now, learning on how you did. But once you learned how you did, day three, step three would be, well, let's reflect. Let's reflect on what you learned. And three critical questions you need to ask yourself is, first of all, what met or exceeded your expectations? Now, what I mean by that is, I don't want you to go negative, but a lot of entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, independent contractors, well, they're challenged to look at the bright side of things, especially this year. Wow. Maybe you simply survived. Maybe you simply got through this amazing storm. You didn't lose all your clients. You didn't have to let go of all your employees. No, think about the positive first. Perspective is everything. Think about the positive. Some of you accelerated. Some of you found more opportunities you didn't or existed before the pandemic. The pandemic actually created opportunities for you. So it's really important. At least try to identify at least 5 items that met or exceeded your expectations. Now, likewise, okay, this time, let's look at what did not meet or exceed your expectations. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to challenge you when you reflect on that. Don't tie it to the pandemic. Do not tie it to the pandemic. A lot of people right now are using the pandemic as nothing more than an excuse or justification of why things didn't work out. Whereas before the pandemic, they weren't working out anyway. They weren't really set up yet or established for success. So think about where you struggled. Even with the pandemic, where you struggled are signs of maybe more stability, infrastructure, and or skills or knowledge. What was it? Maybe messaging was off. What was it? What did not meet your expectations? Now, when you think about those things, I want you to do something else, and that is, let's keep to that theme. Let's stick with the positive first. Think about the year, and what were your 3 most productive activities? I mean, your most productive activities. Things you can specify, I did these 3 things, and they all equated to progress and or revenue and or growth. So consider everything you did, look at your task, things you may enjoy, maybe not, but what were your 3 most productive activities that we can leverage next year, that we can expand upon most likely, right? And of course, if we look at what was productive, we got to look at what wasn't. What were your 3 least productive activities? You know what they are. Those are the time sucks, the wasters. That's you doing administrative work, that $10, $15, $20 an hour work that you should not be doing. What were you doing? What did you allow yourself to do that was the least productive? It's so critical you identify those because we got to get those on your not to-do list moving forward. So critically important that we know and we reflect on the prior year. Okay, so First 2 days, we're going to review transactions activities. Day 3, reflect, ask those key 4 questions. And day 4, now you got to be honest with yourself. We call this the restriction phase. You have to ask yourself, okay, if I didn't meet my goals, maybe it was a target income goal, maybe it was a work-related goal, maybe it was creating certain initiatives, but what was it? If you didn't meet certain goals, you have to ask yourself why. Now, certainly a pandemic can be utilized and leveraged here of why certain things just didn't happen because, yes, I get it. The pandemic was a restriction on commerce of all things and many things, many more things, right? But you have to ask yourself, what else was there? Was it potentially your own personal mindset? Were you your own worst enemy, right? Think about that. Were you your own worst enemy? What held you back from achieving your goals, or what held you back from not meeting your expectations? Maybe it was team members. That's okay. I'm not saying blame team members. In fact, if that's the case, you should blame yourself, if anything, because that meant you aligned yourself with a team member that didn't add value to you and or your business. And ultimately, yeah, that's your responsibility. So what was going on in your business? And maybe you didn't invest enough in yourself. Maybe you didn't read enough books. Maybe you didn't maybe you have a frugal mindset. You say, I'm going to hoard all my cash and sit in the corner. Maybe you panicked or you were petrified. Maybe you weren't productive. And those are the cases, and that's fine if it is, but if those are the cases, you have to recognize it and to ask yourself, why? Why did you allow it to continue? So these restrictions are very important in regards to your growth. Okay, so a lot of review and reflection and looking at those restrictions. Wow, a lot of deep self-reflection going on, right? Hey, this is Rod Santomassimo with the Massimo Show. And oh boy, am I pumped. My new book, Knowing Isn't Doing, well, when it launched, it hit #1. That's right. Top-selling sales book in the entire country on Amazon.com. We're so excited to share many of our proprietary Massimo methods to allow our readers to start finally building that business and the life they've always desired. To get your own copy or learn more, visit www.knowingisn'tdoing.com. So let's start growing. What the heck? It's time to grow. So step 5 is, let's reposition. Now that you've given yourself an honest and comprehensive audit of what was or was not done, let's create a path for moving forward. So first of all, maybe you have some goals, right? People call them SMART goals, SMARTer goals, whatever they are. I want you to set goals that are, they're measurable. So I can know and you can know not only did you succeed, for example, if you said, I need to make more calls. Well, how are we going to measure that? More based on what? The number, how do we know? Maybe instead you say, you know what? I'm going to commit to making at least 20 calls a day, every day, 4 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever it might be, at least 48 weeks of the year, right? So then you add them all up, you do all the math, and you figure out how many calls you're going to make. I mean, I'm not saying calls should be a goal. I'm saying that you have to measure the goal. Measuring the goal, knowing if you're making progress along the way. Don't make goals you can only measure on December 31st. Make goals you can measure along the way to know you can adjust if you need to. You can navigate the year. So what are some possible goals you can make? Certainly, there's a personal goal, anything you personally want it always to achieve. It has to do with your family or relationships. I don't know what it might be. Maybe you have a personal goal that you want to achieve. Think of that more of a relationship goal. Think about setting a self-development goal. We know through the people we work with that they invest in themselves and they make exponentially more than their peers because they work on themselves. They're always looking to improve. What are your goals for improvement? Maybe it's simply reading a book a week or watching more self-improvement videos, listening to more podcasts like the Massimo Show, whatever it might be. Set a self-improvement goal. I definitely love mental goals. Mental goals, a lot of people, I don't need that stuff. Meditation is a beautiful mental goal. taking time out to just maybe reflect, to breathe, all mental goals. You should definitely set one. So I believe in social goals. Why? Because as the year opens up in 2021, you're going to want to make sure. In fact, initially you're going to go crazy. I get it. I've been locked up in my house for almost a year now. You're saying to yourself, I want out. So let's set some social goals. When we are allowed to safely go outside and go in big groups, here's what I'm going to do. Maybe, hey, I'm going to get back to that every week, taking my spouse, my partner, my friends, whatever, out every week. Or maybe it's a bigger social goal of traveling somewhere now that the world will open up again. But yeah, set a vision for what you will do. I absolutely 100% believe in physical goals. I know everyone that listens to this podcast has a different status of their physical health. I get it. And health by itself should be major goals. So let's talk about, let's put health and physical goals all in the same bucket. Maybe you just need to take more better care of yourself and get healthy, or finally see a doctor about a condition you have, right? Or let's continue. Maybe you're saying, you know what, you're going to finally lose the weight or gain the weight, depending where you are. You're going to play more basketball or tennis or lacrosse, if it was me, right? But set physical goals. I'll share this with you as well. When people we work with, we call them Massimo members. Those that do exponentially well, I mean, really exponentially well, they have a tendency to work out more consistently than those that do not. Well, they simply have more energy. They do. Physical goals crafts energy, which allows you to achieve greater things. And certainly, without a doubt, last but not least, yeah, let's set financial goals. Financial goals. Now, you can make it big goal. I'm going to earn this much in 2021. Or you can make it just a quarterly goal or a monthly goal, whatever it may be, but set a financial goal. It can be more than one goal. So either you attain it or you don't is a problem, right? You can get some sub goals in there, but set financial, maybe it's a savings goal. Could be, right? It's not a revenue goal, but a savings goal. In fact, we find those that truly have more margin in their lives, right? Professional and personal margin, they're building more than income, they're building wealth. They don't have revenue goals. No, they don't. They have savings goals. This year, I want to save $200,000. This year, I want to save $50,000. I know some folks, this year, I want to save $1 million to $1.5 million in after-tax dollars. Think about that. At that point, those are some pretty significant financial goals. So as you're doing your financial goals, let's work backwards. And I would suggest, it doesn't matter if you're making millions or making 10, 20, 30,000, 150,000, 200, 300, 600,000. Maybe set a savings goal. But here's the key. If you set a savings goal, the only way you're going to achieve that goal is not by being frugal and hoarding all your cash. No. To save that number, you have to grow your revenue exponentially, right? Invest in yourself, invest in your business, try new things. That's right. That's counterintuitive. You want me to spend money to save more money? Isn't that what all the top producers do? They invest in their business, they invest in themselves, right? They work on themselves and they get better, they make more money, and yes, they save more. So, interesting way to look at it, but look at those goals as well. Okay, so now comes step 6. We call this the reaffirmation. And this is pretty set forward. We want you to look at what you set your plan for yourself in 2021. What does that look like? We want you to own it. Absolutely. Think of the positive, set a vision. What your life will be like when, not if, but when you achieve these goals. Absolutely. You may want to focus on the financial, that's fine. You may want to consider getting down to just 2 goals. I outlined several goals for you. Maybe you say, you know what, this year, I'm really going to focus on these 2 or 3 major goals. Sure, one could be financial, one could be health. It's up to you what it is. It just is. But make sure you take the time to visualize where you will be, how you will feel when, not if, you achieve these goals. And by the way, one thing I would also recommend is as you set the vision for your life, get that life and business you always desired. That's our goal at the Massimo Group for our clients. But as you do that for yourself, think about what's it going to take to get there. Visualize the clients you want to work with. What qualifies them to work with you? You're not chasing clients, right, in this vision. What qualifies someone to work with you? Who will you accept and why? Now, focus on that when you visualize the kind of people you work with, both your clients and yes, your team members. What will your team look like? Virtual assistants, outsourced to somewhere across the globe, full-time, part-time, whatever it is. Visualize and reaffirm every single step along the way. Now comes to the final step. That's step 7, day 7 of our 7 days to your best year yet. And that is the refinement, right? You're setting these goals, which is awesome. That's the major step. But now let's make these realistic. Let's make sure we do what we need to do. Set a plan forth to achieve those goals. If you want to hit a certain number in regards to income or physical changes or whatever it might be, you got to set every week, maybe every day, certainly every month, every quarter, metrics, targets you have to hit, that you have to hit to achieve those goals. This is a refinement stage. Let's make sure you set specific metrics for hitting those goals and the frequency and due dates. Just don't say, yeah, at the end of the year, I'll evaluate it, because you're not going to make it. You won't. So let's make sure you set, targets every single week, month, quarter. Now, here's a real key thing. Start small and build winning streaks. So let's go back to that call scenario. That's amazing. So let's calls first. So you're going to say, I'm going to make 100 calls a day, right? Okay. What's the most calls you've ever made in a single day? Well, one day I made 24. Well, how about this? Let's start a goal of 25. If your highest ever was 24, maybe we should start at 20 consistently, or even 15. The point is, let's start small and build winning streaks. Because what happens is if you don't, you're going to get discouraged. You're going to fail at achieving that goal. So start small, build winning streaks, and move forward and achieve those goals. So that was 7 steps to having your best year yet. We did a transaction review, an activity review, a reflection, then a restriction, reviewing the restrictions. Then we repositioned where we're going to go. We had a reaffirmation step. And finally, we refined how we're going to get there in specific metrics. No doubt. Is it easy? No, but you could do it. You can absolutely do it. Go to our website, see our sources. We actually have a free download right now. Go to our resources section. There'll be a 7 days to your best year yet. Grab it. We have a workbook all for you to utilize. Go through it and start your plan. And of course, if you need any help in crafting your goals and or achieving your goals and or a plan, that's what we do with the Massimo Group. And we're always here to help you. Particularly, we're here to help those who are willing to invest in themselves and help themselves. Regardless if you work with us or not, here's the most important thing. We wish you an amazing 2021. No one knows when this pandemic will be over, but we know there's a light right now at the end of this tunnel. And your direction is to navigate yourself towards that light. Set a plan, make it happen. Reach that light sooner than anyone else. And then, and only then, will you have your best year yet. Until next time, this is Rod Santomassimo with The Massimo Show. I want to thank you for listening to this version of The Massimo Show. And please, please go out and share this with your friends, your colleagues. Heck, share it with your dog. Just share it. And more importantly, just give me some feedback, good, bad, or indifferent. We all grow from understanding what our audience wants to hear. So until next time, this is Rod Santomassimo with The Massimo Show. Hey, this is Rod Santomassimo with the Massimo Group. And did you know over the last 12 plus years, we've worked with thousands of independent contractors, solopreneurs, and small business owners in helping them achieve the business and the life that they've always desired. To learn more how we could possibly help you achieve your goals, please visit www.massimo.coach. That's www.massimo.coach.